Good morning, everybody. Turn the volume down on myself here. All right, let's get the comments back up here. There we go. Okay, can you guys hear me? I hope so. Can I get a 5 by 5 or a 0 by 0? What's just wondering if you guys can hear me. I'm doing things a little bit differently today. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? All right. Thank you, Seventh. Thank you. Good deal. All right. Well, welcome everybody, aka Heather Joy. You guys have all come aboard the deck of the lifeboat. So welcome. And before I jump into things, I just want to quickly go through the 4 simple rules that we have here at the boat. This channel is not a political channel. We do not discuss politics unless, well, that's all just Tommy's discretion. And when he does speak of politics, it's necessary. And it has to do with addiction and things like that. So, number 2, this is not a religious channel. You're going to often hear people say things like, I will pray for you, or I, I couldn't have found sobriety without my faith. Those things are fine. Entering into the territory where you're telling somebody else that your God is better than theirs, or that they're not going to get into heaven. Absolutely not. Number 3, no cursing. Please refrain from cursing in the comment section and the live chat both. As Tommy always says, if you cannot control your tongue, you can't control your life. Then number 4, no trolls. There is absolutely no place on this channel for mean people. We meet here together to build each other up and to help one another. And so, if someone is coming in here and just purposely being mean, you're going to get banned for life. So there we go. I'm happy to see everybody here this morning. We got Seventh and Charles Lemmy, John Doe, Paul Sargent. Let's see. I don't want to miss anyone. Todd G. Charles McCall. I already said Charles. I know Charlie Mullins is here. Anyway, good morning, everybody, and welcome. Oh, Scooby with a doobie is here. I think I just saw Rick's name, so nice. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here. All right, today I wanted to talk about. This is something that I actually used to teach as a psych nurse. I would sometimes I would have to run group therapy, and this is something that I used to teach, and it was kind of fun to go back and find the handouts that we used to use and everything. And I'd actually put a link to the one that I'm going to run through today in the description box. Wait, did I put it in the... No, I had to put it. I was having issues. It's in the on the community page. So if you guys do want that, the link is on the community page. I did just put that up. Anyway, I don't know how many of you are familiar with dialectical behavioral therapy. That's what I want to talk about today. And I wanted specifically to go over crisis survival skills. It's, unless you keep your head in the sand, you can see all around you that our country is headed for a crisis of some kind, and sooner or later, every one of us is going to have a crisis. There's going to be something that is very extreme. Who knows what that might be, but it's going to challenge you, and it's going to push you and you to want, hopefully it doesn't, but if you're new in your sobriety, you have a crisis, you're just bombarded with all these very strong emotions, and it's really hard to not be impulsive and act on those at times. And for us, as addicts, if you have found your sobriety and you're trying to hang on to that, and you've got this crisis that happens, you know you're going to have that urge. You might start craving, you might, but you're going to want to go back to the thing that soothed all those feelings and helped you deal with all of that. But we know that that is just an easy way out that is not effective in the end at all. And so I wanted to give you guys some of the skills that I've used these myself as a patient, but I've also taught them. This is a strange place to be, you guys. But I've used these skills before, and they are very helpful in times of crisis. And so I'm glad to go back and look through this, because I'd forgotten a lot of this. I'd forgotten these things. Hang on a second. Try them out this morning. Anyway, like as I said, I think as recovering addicts, the most important thing we have to remember is our sobriety, and you need to make it a priority if you want to hang on to it. It does, in the end, need to be the most important thing. Because if you can't take care of yourself, you're in no position to help anyone else. And you want, when bad things happen, when you have a crisis, you want to be able to handle it and stay on top of things, and you want to be able to hang on to that sobriety. So I thought this would be a good thing to go through, and show you some of these skills. Dialectical behavioral therapy was actually developed by this psychologist, and they consider her kind of a rock star in the psychology world. Her name's, I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name, but her first name is Marsha, and her last name is Linehan. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Linehan. But anyway, this lady is really considered a rock star in this world for what she developed. She developed this dialectical behavioral therapy. And it was originally therapy that she came up with, in use for, she used to use it in treating people that, okay, I have to be careful with these terms, people that no longer wanted to be alive. Patients like that, and patients that would self-injure. A lot of people that end up being very impulsive, and and doing something very impulsive, very very drastic when they are overwhelmed with emotions. People that have borderline personality disorder are often very impulsive like that. And so originally it was those type of patients that this was created for. And what they do is they help you kind of control the intensity of the emotions. Kind of, if you think of your emotions coming out of a speaker, and you just want to kind of turn the volume down and all that, just kind of turn the intensity down. That's what it is designed to do. They are things that help you to move all of the emotions that are back when you feel them so strongly. They're more in the limbic system back here in your midbrain area. You want to move them to the front, that prefrontal cortex where you think rationally. That's where your adult is. All of these skills that's what it's doing, basically, is moving these things forward so that you can process those emotions in a rational, what's the word I want? But in a, I can't think of the word. Anyway, something. Okay, I'm not gonna get stuck there. Anyway, um, let's see. It, like I said, it's supposed to just turn down the volume of that emotional that impulsivity that can drive a lot of people when they get into a crisis, and they're just so overwhelmed. Some people are very impulsive, and that can be dangerous. And I was thinking, as addicts, so if you have a crisis, um, you know there's going to be, you know that impulse to use again. You don't want to fall you don't want to fall into that. Our sobriety is just too precious. um, let's see. What's interesting is now that dialectical behavioral therapy is something they use to treat all kinds of things. I mean, substance abuse was one of the top things on the list of things that they can use to treat, um, things that they can treat with the DBT. Binge eating, bipolar disorder, ADHD, complex traumas, things like that. They use those, but these DBT skills kind of give you a practical, tangible thing that you can do to deal with issues like that. When you feel like you're in a crisis. But they really are. They're very practical. They're very usable, and it's something that's really easy to teach in a group setting. Um, but it's something that you want to practice as well. You want to, take scenarios, where you think of something that might happen to you that might tempt you to go back to your addiction, and run scenarios like that through the skills that I'm going to show you guys. Uh, doing Practicing it like that really helps, because then you already know what you plan to do. If you practiced it. So I really like this stuff, and when people are really in crisis, in experiencing a lot of anxiety or depression, um, this could be very helpful. Um, there's one of the doctors that I'm gonna the handout that I the link that for the handout that I posted. One of the doctors that helped come up with it. I like this. He wrote this. He said emotions always show up in waves, and they do, don't they? They really do. When you're going through something like, say, grief, or you've lost someone. I mean, those feelings come in waves. They really do. But he said, they always show up in waves. And there are always periods in between the waves where we catch our breath. It's about learning to surf the wave. And I love that metaphor. Um, these dialectic behavioral therapy skills are really, a way to breathe. um, and when you've got those periods of rest, that's a good time to use this stuff. But I like that anyway. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you this handout. I hope this will work. And here we go. Okay, I'm hoping that pulls it up. There we go. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the overview right here of the crisis survival skills. Um, and these, like it says, these are skills that help you to tolerate a crisis, something that's really painful. If you are overwhelmed with an emotion, um, you need to be able to deal with it in the right way. Um, and that's what these skills are. And we're going to go through each of these, and I'll explain each of them. But there's the stop skill, the pros and cons, tip your body chemistry, distract with wise mind, and accepts. There's self-soothing with the five senses, and there's also one called improving the moment. And these are all things you can do. Um, and this is just a brief explanation here. Uh, when you are in a crisis, that's a situation that's highly stressful. But it's a short-term thing. It's not a long-term thing. It's not going to last that long, but it creates an intense pressure to resolve that crisis now. That's when you're in a crisis, and these skills. Um, this is the good time to use them. Okay, and I think I've found these are very helpful, you guys. If you, like it says, number one, if you have intense pain that cannot be helped quickly. Yeah, and this is emotional pain. Number two, you want to act on your emotions, but it will only make things worse. Yeah, that's another time. We have all, I'm sure, done that, where you've been rash and done something and then really wished you could take it back. Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that one. So that it can help in that situation, to keep you from that. Number three, emotion mind. If your mind is like I talk about all the time, when you're overwhelmed with emotions, they are still in your limbic system, your midbrain, and they become very overwhelming, and you're not being rational about them. That's what that means by emotion mind. So your emotion mind threatens to overwhelm you, and you need to stay skillful. That's another time to use this. Number four, when you are overwhelmed, but demands must be met. I, yeah, been in situations like that before. You've got to keep your head. You've got stuff to do. You can freak out after it's over with. Anyway, number five, um, they're talking when it says arousal is extreme. They're talking about your emotions that get you really in a flight or fight state. So arousal is extreme, but problems can't be solved immediately. That's a good time to use these skills. It's not for everyday problems. It's not for solving all your life problems, and it's not for making your life worth living. These are just skills that you can use in the moment. Let's see. Now, the first one, it's called the stop skill. And I really like this one. I've used this one many times, and it's really simple. The first thing you do, if you are in a crisis, and there's something's happened, say, and you want a drink, and you've been sober for a couple of years, but this is it something really extreme has happened and it's really pushing you. First thing you need to do is stop. And it's a good idea to run, like I said, run scenarios through each one of these in your mind or write them down in your journal, but run through them, and practice them. It helps if you've already decided what you're going to do. um, you're a lot better off, and then you just stick to it. But anyway, the first thing you would want to do is stop. And it says, do not just react. And that's a good point, because a lot of times when something happens and you're overwhelmed with emotion, you do want to act. But so do not make a move. Your emotions may try to make you act without thinking, so stay in control. The T and stuff would be take a step back. Take a step back from the situation, take a break, let go, take a deep breath. Do not let your feelings make you act impulsively. Again, this is very helpful, um, in keeping you from acting rashly and then having to put your foot in your mouth later. The O would be to observe. And this is really where you're taking the feelings to the front of your brain right here. Um, and you're kind of redirecting things. So observe, notice what is going on inside and outside you. What is the situation? What are your thoughts and feelings? What are others saying or doing? And this is a really good time to use your journal and go through these. Anyway, the P would be to proceed mindfully. So, look at the situation that you're in, stop, look, think about it, and then proceed. You know, it's much better than doing something, rashly. So, act with awareness and deciding what to do, consider your thoughts and feelings, the situation and the other people's thoughts and feelings. Think about your goals. Think about sobriety and the things that you are doing and want to continue to do, with being sober. Think about those goals. And then they talk a lot in DBT about wise mind. And wise mind is simply the mind that has control over the emotions. They're feeling them and acknowledging them, but they're not letting the emotions take control. That's your wise mind. So ask your wise mind which actions will make it better or worse. I mean, I really like that one. That's a very helpful one. Um, yeah, I practiced. I remember running scenarios through all of these at one time, and they really are helpful. And I really like this one. I use this one a lot, and I forgot that it was here that I learned it. But it's a simple. You want to make a pros and cons list, but it really does help when you start to write these things down. It helps so much to. So let me unshare my screen. Hang on here. Okay. Um, I just find that pros and cons list really is helpful, because if there's something that you are really worried about, and you're trying to decide what to do, writing the pros and the cons down of the action that you would like to take or that you were thinking to take, doing all of this really helps you handle those emotions. And yeah, I just find that very helpful, and it does move all those thoughts here to the front of your brain, where you can think about them instead of just feeling. And you don't want to react, you want to act. Does that make sense? Let me jump back here a minute. Let's see, there we go. Oh, come on, share. Oh boy. This isn't. Let me try this again. I apologize, guys. The screen. I want that one. And okay, I hope. Okay, I hope you guys can see this. Um, okay, I can see it's up now. Okay, so you use the pros and cons skill. Anytime you need to decide between two courses of action. Again, this is really good if something comes up. Uh, So, one example of when you could use it would be an urge. An urge is a crisis when it is very strong, and when acting on the urge will make things worse in the long term. Um, that's a really good thing to think about. Make a list of the pros and cons of acting on your crisis urges. These might be to engage in dangerous, addictive, or harmful behaviors. And boy, we understand that, don't we? Or they might be to give in, give up, or avoid doing what is necessary to build a life you want to live. Um, Make another list of pros and cons resisting crisis urges. That is tolerating the distress and not giving into the urges. Also, use the grid below. Okay, I really like this one, to evaluate both sets of pros and cons. Okay, I find this so helpful. So let's start with acting on crisis urges. Say, say I find out my daughter has been in a horrible accident, and I get that call, and there's nothing that I can do. They say it's just really bad news. I'm just coming up with a stupid scenario. Say there's nothing I can do, and I'm just waiting to hear. Um, you're going that. If you can't go anywhere, you can't. If I couldn't go and be with my daughter, I'd be going crazy, and that would be one thing that might push me a little bit to start maybe having an urge for my drug of choice. I don't know. I hope that I never get pushed to where I would actually be thinking about doing it. But the cravings do happen. Um, anyway. Okay, say that something like that happened. And I want my drug of choice. Okay, so let's go through. What if I act on that? What if I go ahead and um, I relapse? Okay, the pros of acting on an impulsive urge like that, of giving up, giving in. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's only the pros of that choice would only be short term. It would just be an immediate gratification. It wouldn't be anything that would last. That'd be horrible. The time and the hard work and everything that I've gone through to have 15 years of sobriety, that would really just a momentary, just an immediate gratification to lose all that. Um, yeah, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. And the cons, um, oh boy, there's so many cons here. What if I couldn't give it up after that? What if I went right back to it? Um, you know, look at all the promises that I would have broken to myself and to my family and to my husband and to my God. Lots of cons. But then looking at it on the bottom of the chart, resisting the urges you get when you're in a crisis, resisting that urge to relapse, what are the pros? Well, you're definitely going to be stronger after that. There's lots of pros definitely there. And the cons of resisting that, again, it would just wouldn't be, you wouldn't have that immediate um, you know, you wouldn't get that the immediate feeling you would get from taking the drug. It would just be a momentary thing. Just wouldn't be worth it. But before, like, I really like what it says here. Before an overwhelming crisis urge hits, write out your pros and cons. Carry them with you. Rehearse your pros and cons over and over. And I swear, you guys, might sound silly, uh, but that really does help. You know, just I have written something very similar to this before, where I wrote that out. What would be the pros and cons of relapsing, and what would be the pros and cons of not. And I've never carried it around with me, but that's practicing that, running those scenarios through your mind seriously does help, because you've already decided what you're going to do. You just have to follow through at that point. I really find that very helpful. um anyway, it says here again, this is another good thing to do, like in a journal. But review your pros and cons. Get your list out and read it over and over again. Imagine the positive consequences of resisting. You think of the negative consequences of giving in. And remember past consequences when you relapsed. Yeah, I have many to think about, but this one, for some reason, I found extremely helpful. This next one I really like too. Um, Tip skills: changing your body chemistry. And it's just to reduce extreme emotion that you might have in your mind fast. If you are just absolutely overwhelmed, this one, and I've done this one before, and it is helpful. And I have actually done this to patients as well. Um, but you get a bowl of very cold water. I put ice in it. and just have the patient hold their breath and put their face in that bowl of cold water. You can also like get a if you have a Ziploc bag, like a gallon-sized bag, filling that with ice water and just holding that up to your face. Same, pretty much the same effect, but you want to hold it for about 30 seconds. But that really helps calm you down. It sounds kind of silly, might sound kind of weird, but it definitely helps. And when you just feel like you cannot bear to feel that emotion another second, this is a good thing to do. Um, anyway, the I love this one too. Intense exercise. If you feel almost consumed with an emotion, it is very good. Run down to the gym and do some Tabata, or I love to go run, or if I'm really mad, um, deadlifting and then taking a medicine ball and just slamming it. That works out a lot of that works out a lot of tension. Let me tell you. But that when you feel something that extreme, that's a good way to work it out. Get all of that energy that is stored up in your body and get it out. And put some emotion into it. Let it be a way of expressing that. That's a very good one. Um, and then P would be both for the paced breathing and the paired muscle relaxation. And I know we've talked about this before, but breathing really helps when you are putting your mind on the counts of the breath, and breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just doing all of those things and letting your mind work on that instead of acting on an emotion. This is a really good way of calming down. And on this one, it suggests, well, it says, for example, 5 seconds in and 7 seconds out, and whatever works for you. I've often done, box breathing, where you inhale for 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold it, and then start over again. But anything like that is going to help. But take the breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, and purposely think in your mind of calming down and of breathing slowly, getting your heart rate down and getting your blood pressure down. Just think in your mind. Use your mind and get your mind engaged in something else other than that emotion. It's going to help. I don't know if any of you have done paired muscle relaxation along with slow breathing, but it is very helpful. And I really like how they set this one up. It shows you right here all of the different parts of your body. You just work in sections where you're going to tense up those muscle groups and then relax. And let's see, where's the breathing? Okay, I need to, okay, hang on here. Anyway, this is a good way to break down all of the different body areas. And you work, however you want to do it, but you just gradually work down your body. You can follow this one, or you can I like to just start at my head and keep it simple and just work all the way down. But tensing up those muscles and then letting them go and thinking relax is very helpful. And you want to incorporate all of this muscle relaxation with your breathing. Again, it's just engaging your mind in so many different ways. It's going to help you calm down because you're not dwelling on that emotion. And this is something that takes practice, but I find it very helpful. But they also suggest that when you to add to the breathing and the relaxation is to think. It's just rethinking. What they want you to do basically is think about a stressful prompting event, whatever the crisis is that is pushing you to want to relapse. Um, you write that down, whatever that response is. The next step would be to write down what you tell yourself about that situation. Um, And for example, right here, it says he hates me, or I can't stand this, or I can't do this. I'll never make it. I'm out of control. I mean, those are all things. If you are dealing with a crisis, those are things that you might be telling yourself. So, if you write them down so that you become aware of what you're thinking, as you write them down, once you write down what you're telling yourself, that right there, you can change it. So you rethink it and write down things that might be a strategy that you can use to help whatever the situation is, but you change what you're telling yourself. Instead of he hates me or I can't stand this, you can tell yourself, like, I am capable of handling this. I can do this. I can do hard things. I am strong. I mean, just be telling yourself positive things rather than dwelling on these negative things. But if you can add these positive affirmations to the muscle relaxation and the controlled breathing, it's very helpful. And it just showed, I like how they set this up. On the left side here, you want to state the statement that's going to be helpful. It's what you were rethinking. Um, and so you breathe in, um, and while you're breathing in, you're thinking of that statement. And I like the examples. So you would breathe in, it's not that important. You think that while you're breathing in. So, as you start to exhale and breathe out, then you just tell yourself, relax. And every time you breathe in, you tell yourself another positive statement. And when you breathe out, just tell yourself, relax. But when you combine those thoughts with the muscle relaxation and this controlled breathing, it really does help you calm down. And once you can calm down and look at the situation again and really think about it instead of acting out of emotion, you're going to have much better results, much better. Um, Another thing that they teach is something that just distraction. That's a really good one. Just something that you can do rather than acting impulsively. Um, let's see. There's all kinds of different things you can do. Like it lists right here with activities. That's a way that you can distract. Um, and it's that here. Focus your attention on something you need to get done. That's always a good one if you can do that. Watching a movie, cleaning I find very helpful when I'm frustrated. um, Again, they, like we'd already talked about, walking, exercise, surf the internet, write emails, play sports, food, um, in moderation is always good. um, Call or go out with a friend, I highly recommend that one. When you can, there's just something about a connection that is just helpful. And you don't even have to necessarily be talking about anything. It's just that connection and doing something with a friend. Sometimes that is such a good distraction and it's so helpful. Again, here suggests here a card, spending time with your chickens, your children. I spend time with my chickens. Oh, good grief. They are kind of my children. Anyway, just lots of things you can do with activities. The second thing is things that you can do to distract where you're contributing. Volunteer work, helping someone else. surprising someone else, doing something nice for someone else really takes you out of your head and out of your problems. And that is, I find that is a wonderful distraction. And I always go away feeling so much better if I do something to help someone. That's a very good one. And there's so many ways that you can do something nice for someone else or be thoughtful. Another suggestion is distraction with comparisons. This is a good thing for journaling. It suggests here, compare how you feel. Uh, sorry, compare how you are feeling now to a time when you felt different. Uh, think about people coping the same as you or less well than you. It's just making comparisons. I never did like this one all that much, except for the um, comparing how you feel compared to a different time in journaling and why I find that one helpful. But comparing yourself to people that are less fortunate, I think right there, I think it should say gratitude. That would be a very good one in the end. Um, Reality shows. Jerry Springer. Oh my goodness. That's definitely one way to feel better about yourself at times. Anyway, um, another one is it suggests distraction with different emotions. So maybe an emotional book or a story or an old letter or an emotional TV show, a rom com, something like that. Music is a really good distraction through emotion that way. Another thing they've got here is pushing away. Putting the situation away for a while. Sometimes you have to do that. If something has happened that is so stressful, but you really don't know what to do. Sometimes putting it away for a little bit is a good thing to do. Um, I find it difficult, but they suggest here, leave the situation mentally, build an imaginary wall between yourself and the situation. Try to block that off in your mind. I find that men are a lot better at this one than women are. Um, if you find yourself ruminating over something, that's definitely something you want to stop. Other thoughts, it suggests here, let's see, counting to 10, counting colors in a painting, repeating words to a song in your mind, work puzzles, reading. That's a good one. TV and somewhat, but with other sensations also is a good way of distraction. Um, and here it suggests, squeezing a rubber ball really hard, or listening to loud music, or holding ice in your hand or mouth. That one, again, like the putting your face in cold water, it's the same thing here. Um, but taking a cold shower can also be very helpful. Let's see, what time are we getting to? Oh, goodness. Okay. Hang on here. I'm going to stop this for a minute. Okay. I don't know. How are you guys? Is this helpful at all? I'm not not sure how many of you are familiar with DBT therapy, but I'm finding I have found it very helpful in the past. There's a few more things to run through, but I hate just not. I hate leaving that other screen on there for you guys. So let me just put this back. We will finish looking at it and okay. There's another one. I am wondering if you guys would be interested in this at all. Um, have you guys ever done a guided meditation? That was something I used to do. I would have patients uh, find somewhere to relax. Usually they would just get mats and lay down on the floor in the room where we would do it, but everybody would lay down. I'd put on some very peaceful music, and then take everybody through a guided meditation. And I'm wondering if that would be something you guys would be interested in. Because I've done that many times. It's very relaxing and very helpful. I'm wondering if that would you guys be interested in that? Let me know in the comments if that's something you guys would be interested in. But this one, it takes you through, how to do a meditation step by step. It's not hard at all. Um, but you want when you are doing meditation, one thing that you need to remember is your breathing. You want to have controlled breathing. Um, this is a really good way to work on getting a connection with your body. And your body can carry a lot of stress from trauma and different things. And this is a good start for, like I said, getting in touch with your body and figuring out what you feel and where. I'm not going to run through that right now. I think that's something that I want to do with you guys if you guys are interested. Um, but that would, guided meditations are very helpful. Another one that, another skill is what they call improving the moment. And it's just really, this is another good thing to use with your journal. I find, but you can use, trying to make, when you're in a crisis, you're wanting to make the moment a little better. You want to improve that moment. Um, you can do that with imagery. And it suggests here, thinking of imagining very relaxing scenes that can be helpful if you are able to control your mind. Sometimes it takes a while of just calming down before you can actually um, sit down and think about something relaxing. Um, but you can run through scenarios in your head of the way you would like to see the situation go, and imagine things in a positive manner and how you would handle things and what you would do if it goes the way that you would like. That's image using imagery. It can be very, very powerful. But there's another way of doing improving the moment, and that's through meaning. Um, and I really like this one. It says find purpose or meaning in a painful situation. That's something I always try to do in difficult situations rather than complaining and whining about it. That because complaining and whining is not going to change it. It's not going to help. It's not going to change that this crisis is here. Um, so if you can look at it and say, there's a purpose here. There's something I need to learn from this. What can I learn? I find that gives difficult situations meaning, and it makes it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain this, but I do find that even painful situations can be very, very helpful in your personal growth. So, just looking at any situation and trying to find what you can learn, that's very helpful. Um, but you can read these each one of these, but this one, prayer is another form of meditation. And if you belong to a faith and you believe it, this is a very, very helpful one right there. And I have also found that writing down my prayers in my journals is a very powerful form of meditation right there. um, Again, that we were just talking about this, relaxing, doing relaxing actions, um, self-soothing, um, hot milk, a bathtub. I love bubble baths. A massage, stretching out your body. And again, we've talked about breathing deeply, but even just changing your facial expression, that's a good one. If changing your facial expression and sitting up straight, changing your posture, opening up your chest, it does something. It does something to you energetically. I'm sure of it. But there's many things here that it suggests, but those are all, if I remember. Okay, yes, okay, improving the moment. But that's just another thing you can use. Um, okay, and those next ones, oh boy, we'll have to go over those, but I'm going to do it in a less boring way for you guys at another time. These reality acceptance skills, I think that those are really important too. When it comes, here, let me put myself back on here. There we go. When it comes to some, when you are in a crisis, when something difficult happens to you, you cannot change the fact that that's happened. There's nothing you can do about that. And there's something that they call radical acceptance, that is one of the DBT skills. And it is just accepting, look, this is the way it is. You can't change it. So, make the best of it. And I think that radical acceptance, I want to go over that. We definitely don't have time to go finish finish that up, darn it. But radical acceptance, I find, is a very good one, and using that skill can be helpful. You know, it's better to just look at the situation rather than run from it. And that's, as addicts, when we were in active addiction, that's exactly what you do. Is you're running from whatever it is that's driving you to that point. There's something that you need to work through, that is pressing you to fill that need. Anyway, if you guys are having, difficulties dealing with problems, if you have crisis a crisis that pops into your life, these really are good skills. But again, it's something that if you write these things down in your journal and you work through these scenarios, run these things through your mind and write about them, it does make it a lot easier for you to know if you've already decided, if this happens, this is how I'm going to behave, and I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to turn to my drug of choice, I'm going to keep my schedule in place, I'm going to, just all of the things that you do to stay sober. um, you know, those things, if you've already run those scenarios through your head, you already know this is how I want to take care of this. It's a lot easier, seriously, to already have planned that. You just have to follow through with that after that. Those things those skills are very helpful. And that's a crisis of some type is going to happen. We all experience them, and I'm sure they're different for everybody, but I see a lot of very stressful situations coming upon us in the near future. And, please, if you think these would be helpful at all, download that handout and use these skills. Become familiar with them if you aren't familiar with this type of therapy. But these are very, very powerful tools if you use them. And I'm sure some of you have come across this before, have heard of this, but I have run groups in the psych ward, and taught this very thing before, and they are helpful for the people that actually use them. They're not going to do you any good if you just go, that's nice, and you don't do the work. I really want to provide some things that you can do, skills, um, practical things you can do when you need them, because life is definitely not going to be easy from this point on. But and I like I said, you cannot control. There's so many things that happen to us in our lives that we cannot control, but we can control our attitude. We can control how we see the situation, and what we're going to do about it. We always have a choice in how we react, and that's something nobody can take from you. Just remember that. This is, I know sobriety, especially at the beginning, is not easy. It's not. And it's a struggle. It really is. But you guys, it is so worth it. It is so worth it. There are some days I it's interesting. I find that I when I have difficult things that I'm dealing with now, it's been 15 years. I don't thinking of turning to, a pain pill, which was my drug of choice. It doesn't even occur to me anymore to do that. My first instinct in most cases is to go running. That's what I want to do. That's how I deal with a lot of things because it gives I find a lot of solace in it. And it's a time for me to just let my mind wander wherever it needs to go. And I seems like with a good run, by the time that run is done, I have in my mind some, whatever it is that I need to take care of or address. I find those are very helpful. But I will never, I never want to forget how bad I was. I don't want to forget what I put myself and my husband, my children through. When I wasn't sober. I don't ever want to make that mistake again. And I want to forget those things because, you never know. There could be something happen. What if I lost my spouse, or something really, I can see, in extreme situations, wanting to go back to the one thing that I know will stop pain for a while, that, I'll never do it. I will not. I will never turn back to that. But it's just the same. I don't want to forget. Does that make sense? Anyway, I'm hoping that these will be helpful. And like I said, if you guys use them, they do help. Um, we just say hi to everybody. M Hunt is here. Lemmy, okay, full of hope. Okay, I believe Lemmy, you were here earlier, and Todd was here. John Doe, Charles McClellan. Luke Skywalker, welcome. Jennifer Rice. Let's see, who else? Good one. Miss Cheryl is here. Dion Russell. Okay. Dion is here. Yes, I keep bumping all of these. Let's see. Virginia. Hey. Let's see. I don't want to miss anybody. Jeff Angel. Welcome. Let's see. I greeted a bunch of you earlier. I just don't want to miss anybody. Annette, welcome. Glad you are here. I'm glad you guys are all here. The photographer. You guys are the best. Look at all those ones in chat. You guys are awesome. Anyway, if I missed you, I apologize. I hope you guys all have a great day. I hope some of this might be helpful to you. I do want to continue and finish the end of this one. I do want to address that radical acceptance because I feel that is a very important one. So we'll be looking at this again. But I got to find a way to do it that is less boring for you guys. I'm trying. I'm learning this whole YouTube thing. I'm trying to learn how to use all these tools, but we're working on it. We're getting better. You guys have a great day. If you need help, reach out. Have that list of 5 and use them. Because that's what we are here for. Is to support each other, help one another. And my email is in the description box. If you guys need to reach out to me, if there's a few emails I still need to return. So if you sent one and you're waiting for a response, it's coming. I'm sorry. The last couple of days have been rather interesting, but you guys have a great day. You guys can do this. You can do this. I've revealed a lot of things about myself. You guys, if I can find sobriety, You can do this too. I was one of the weakest of the weak. You got this. Believe in you. We'll see you guys most likely tomorrow. So have a great day.